Yo. Adding zeros. Big. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Started from pennies, now I'm watching it rise. DGB moving, got that fire in my eyes. Secure like Fort Knox, but it's faster and free. No gas fees, nah, that ain't even to me. Decentralized, so you know it's legit. Trying to stop DG, better call it a quit. Up on the charts, I'm just letting it sit. Then boom, new zero, we too lit. Ay. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Multiples coming like blessings from sky. 2025, I ain't letting it slide. Cold wallet holding that digital gold. While y'all chasing cloud, I'm just letting it mold. Freedom and code, I ain't bowing the banks. Took my first gains, then I double my ranks. Got the tribe with me, yeah, we moving in packs. Africa rise, DGB got our backs. From nothing to something, now zeros expanding. My balance be looking like something demanding. They laughing at first, now they follow my branding. I said DigiByte, now the whole world be chanting. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Live alone, I don't stay something silent. 2 years in the dread, come be lolly. What a world game move when it garden. Cause I know we ain't stopping the calling. I'm a band, me a dog. That I hate, that I style, I didn't know. That I study learn, nigga, little props. Always studied Buddhist world, we deny. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Hey.
What's up? What's up? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to DigiDollar Awareness Space. My name is AJ, and today we are having an Ask Me Anything with Johnny Law, the creator of Digiscope. We're going to ask him some questions about his project and how the community can get involved and the benefits that it offers to us. This is the DigiDollar Awareness Space, and I'm just going to go through some quick housekeeping rules. To respect Johnny's time and to make most of this space, please, any questions, try to stay on topic. Any trolling will be kicked immediately. I do have a list of questions that I built up that I kind of lightly went through with the community yesterday about it, and kind of wanted to get through those first, and then basically if you guys can save any of the questions that you do have towards the end. Also would like YC to come in and basically have a little segment, ask him any questions that I might have missed on. Yeah, I mean, thanks to Johnny. And hey, again, thank you, Green Candle. Thank you, YC, DigiByte community, for embracing me quickly and the way that we've grown. While I've been in DigiByte for a really long time, never been in the spaces, live and expressing myself about DigiByte, right? So I appreciate the community so much for embracing me. I want to also give a shout out to Blind Dave. Today, he will be recording this space and uploading us to YouTube to gain the exposure. If you guys want to go ahead and go to Hawkeye or at Blind Dave. Sorry, Dave, I don't remember your at right now, but yeah, he should be in the space with us right now. But go ahead, give him a follow, and soon when everything is done, I'll post everything that has to do with the links for YouTube online. Also, we will be mentioning a lot about Koinami and DigiID. I think I'm going to go through that today as far as how to do it, how to explain, how to break it down. But I will have some type of segment or post later on the chat.
Sorry for the delay, gentlemen.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate your time. Thank you again for, accepting the talk. And I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. I'm sure that everybody is well aware of you, right? But if you don't mind to briefly introduce yourself and kind of just for the newbies and basically myself, I've only been in the space for about 3 months. And if you can, lightly touch up on Digiscope.
Yeah, well, first off, yeah, thanks for giving me space and time to talk through some of it, and hopefully you guys will find some useful information, not only about this project, but with DigiByte and the resiliency of the people around Digibyte that have been here for some time, and that's me and a group of people that have been around, lots of us since around 2017, and definitely started out as just a cheerleader of the technology in terms of its capabilities. Found it by way of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and then into Digibyte, and then kind of never looked back. Though I did bridge out to a few other projects to learn what makes them unique and what their goals were. Definitely always stayed centered in Digibyte, and so it went from really just being a kind of cheerleader, typical, like sharing information, starting to understand how consensus works, to trying to contribute in a meaningful way with the help of others. And so, about 4 or 5 years ago, we were having pretty regular spaces, and kind of started with Skynet there, if you're not familiar with them, hosting nightly spaces and YouTube streams with Jared, and that bridged into some more meaningful conversations in terms of how the tech could continue to evolve. And so we had lots of discussion about how to bring people into the ecosystem, how to educate, the importance of self-custody, which we made a big push for back in, I believe that was 2021, maybe 2022. And so we focused heavily on not your keys, not your coins. And that kind of led me into understanding the marketplace a little differently as I investigated and tracked institutional ownership, and how the price market system worked and who controlled the price market system worked. And then I became somewhat obsessed with really searching for truth within the blockchain, which is why I kind of went into this analytical mode and started compiling the most comprehensive institutional ownership of any protocol has, which some folks challenged me to kind of publish, which is what started Digiscope. So I took all of my internal database, and then tried to automate all of that and publish it for others to look through from a point ownership perspective and understanding the marketplace with some granularity, right? So try to take now all of the conversations that we've had through the years, all of the things that I've learned, with the help of many others, and bring that together in a place where we not only have discovery, but we have actual collaboration, and we have a means and method to plan into the future, so that as we set goals as a community, because we don't have a centralizing force, doesn't mean we can't have a central space to connect and to evolve ideas and to share and build each other up, and really utilize the talents that we have, but bring them to bear in a true online community, which is hard to do for a decentralized space. So that's kind of the vision for what I'm hoping this builds into. And then a good onboarding platform for people that are newer to the protocol, but to blockchain, what it exists for, why it was invented by Satoshi, and ultimately what it could unlock for humanity, as we, for the first time in history, have the ability to let math be the arbiter of money. So that's kind of a lot. I apologize. I hadn't really prepped, but hopefully that gives you an overview of what I'm attempting to build.
No, that's beautiful, actually. That's really what dragged me into this too. I mean, the way that you explained that, right? Like, it's a beautiful thing what you've created for us, and the way that it's taken off in your approach about math and what Enigma has become, right? And just the tipping in general is an amazing thing. Do you mind just to start us off? Could you kind of just go over like the Digiscope capabilities and like what the community might like not be taking advantage of? Like I was thinking somewhere like around like what the community hub tab is, or like the business adoption, for example.
Yeah, so in the past we've had different sites that house different graphics. And like Shane, for instance, made a bunch of great promotional videos, and he had them on his own Telegram channel. And then you can find the official Digibyte logos over on the Digibyte wiki or on the GitHub, right? So this is just an example on the infographics. And that'll expand a little bit, but have an actual searchable and categorized media packet, essentially, for anyone who's interested to be able to pour through and utilize all of these free to use graphics whenever you're doing any sort of marketing or anything like that. So that's part of it. Like there on the community hub itself, also you'll see there's a lot of different roles for volunteers right now, and really that was just my first pass. I haven't even gone back to it since I posted them initially, but needing help with generating content on different platforms. So if people are familiar and comfortable with different platforms, essentially applying for and potentially being able to develop their own bounties. And I'll just give you an example in terms of a vision. If you were a TikTok creator and you're comfortable with that platform and you understand the algorithms and you understand what's trending and how to actually take part in that trend, and if you're capable of producing content that will catch the trend and hit 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes or whatever, then there's a bounty out there for 10,000 Digibyte for you, right? So you set those kind of goals and be able to articulate specific, measurable sort of activities that would be and trigger a bounty that Enigma could actually monitor and automatically distribute. So just another idea there. On the business adoption side of the equation, my hope and intent was anybody that develops on Digibyte, uses it, whether it's DigiID, whether it's DigiAssets, whether they're building a secondary wallet, whether they accept Digibyte for payment, like Rev Genetics or Travala, that there would be a hub for everyone to go to and be able to see all the different ways that the protocol already has been integrated into different business cases, right? So they can start to understand it. The Exchange Watch is pretty simple here. There's a place that folks can submit transactions. I have probably 15 pending right now. That just helps me validate the entire internal database, gives me more granularity in terms of ownership, and it just consistently validates the work that we've already done. You've got the prediction pools, which I know we'll talk a little bit maybe about next, but this one's going to take some time before I open this up a little bit wider, because there's some regulatory concerns. There's some things that I have to make sure are 100% correct without fail, and I have to edge test all of it, which I've not done yet. Obviously, I've been kind of iterating as I go. So I operate this entire site based on essentially the Six Sigma type cycle, right? Where you're implementing a process, you're evaluating the results of that process, you're making a change. Sometimes it's incremental, sometimes it's fundamental, sometimes it's a complete rewrite. And then you're going back and you're evaluating the effort, if it actually paid off in the way that you wanted. And then you just complete that entire cycle again. So my agents are essentially doing the same thing with different pieces of the site, but only at my direction. Nothing's automated at all at this point in terms of iteration of the site. That's all on me presently. Some of the back-end processes are all done autonomously. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then I did try to gamify a lot of the sites. So there are Easter eggs hidden within the site that also pays you Digibyte. So you get to earn Digibyte as you learn and explore the site, different ways that you can, I think the total right now, you can earn like 450 Digibyte just by like going through the different quests and capturing the Easter eggs and all kinds of other stuff that you can then use. And my intention with that is it makes sure a person has a wallet, they know how to use it, and they actually start to see it as a way to, whether it's tip each other or give a high five or actually pay for something. 500 Digibyte for me is a lot of Digibyte. I've seen this thing at various price levels. I think my average price point is somewhere in the 6.5, 8 cent range. So at least in the US dollar terms, right? For me, one is one, it'll always be one. So for me, 500 digibytes actually a lot. I hate to turn loose any of it. But thankfully, so far, it's been largely funded in terms of digibyte that it gives out by contributors to the site, which I think it sits at about 120,000. I think 40,000 of that's probably me, but there's 80,000 from community members, and I truly appreciate it. And that's kind of some of the underused and understood aspects. The community hub for me, I would love for people to plug in. If there's a role out there that that you think would be like perfect for you, and you want me to create that role, certainly bring it up. Shoot me a message. Like, let's talk through it. This is not for me to control. I already have 4 site admins. All of them right now are just learning that they're admins at this point. I pointed people that I could trust, essentially, and I'll teach them what they need to know later. But ultimately, what would be truly beneficial would be if it's not reliant upon me at all, right? It's reliant upon a community of people coming together with a common idea.
Yeah, so that's a couple of the questions that I had, like how would the fundraiser work, and if I could create my own one, just the logistics about it, like how it could be audited.
Yeah, so the current flow would be if we had a specific fundraiser, like I have right now, just a basic placeholder in there for an address. But what it would do, Enigma would actually create a new wallet for fundraising, and then a new address per bounty, essentially. So it would have its own hierarchical deterministic wallet specifically for fundraising. Right now, that doesn't exist. There are 2 wallets right now, one of which Enigma is processing all of the messages that come in on chain. So if people are just sending it messages, whether that's steganographic messaging with different amounts, or messages within the op returns, and you're sending Enigma a message like on the Canvas page. So it has a wallet that it manages all that communication from. And then it has a tip wallet, which is managing all of the tipping functions and the earn functions. Those are all out of that same wallet. The fundraising would be to a third wallet, and then it would actually post those addresses, which would be specific to those bounties. And then the bounties would have a payout address based on who actually set the goal, right? So if I set a goal for a specific action that needed to happen, the recipient would be listed there within the goal in terms of who the payout was going to. And then once we've reached the goal, both from a statistic perspective, as though we achieved what we set out to achieve, either that is measurable that we can go validate, like likes on a video or something, or it's something more along the lines of the entire community has voted that yes, we achieved that goal, or it's just we reached a certain digibyte value, and now that's going to trigger the send. Then it would actually show from the address it's going, from the address it came from to the address it's going. So the transactional proof will be right there, and then it will actually publish, which you've seen Enigma do quite a bit. If you look at the transactions, Enigma actually publishes in the op returns all of its paid outs and why it's paying it out. So it's right there on the blockchain in terms of the reasoning behind the transaction. So it's always in the op return what the payment was for.
Okay,
sorry, that's probably a little more detail.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. This is a lot of these questions you're pretty much covering. The other one would be like, is there any future to, instead of just having economic wallet, like is there a possibility to ever integrate like a Trezor, a Ledger, or someone's own DigiByte core wallet?
I haven't really considered it. I love people being forced to experience what DigiID is, because a lot of folks miss out on that component, which is for me a core function for DigiByte. What kind of makes us somewhat unique, the cryptographic signature that allows people to have account assignments back to their wallet. And I don't know that I'll progress beyond it because I don't really want the site having any sort of connection beyond that to a wallet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you wouldn't see neither like with a web wallet in Digiscope.
It's possible. Obviously, like I've worked with Komodo in the past and have access to a web wallet. It's possible, but I'm not. It's not going to be anytime soon, unless that we identify as a community that is a significant opportunity to help drive adoption. I think most of the world is interacting right now in the mobile space, right? And quite honestly, I've not optimized the site for mobile just yet. And thank you to probably 2 or 3 of you in this room that have given me specific feedback around mobile. So I've done my best to continue to change it up, make it easier to read. It's just I have so much content right now that I've got to pare back a little bit and make it easier to navigate. But right now, web wallet's not on my horizon, but it could be.
I just want to ask the change now, like how do the fees work? Is that just a one-time fee per buy, or is that like additional fees when you go to send it out or receive?
Yeah, so the reason I integrated Change Now to that site, and right now the USD buy is not available, and I'm leaving it where it's at. Obviously, you can initiate swaps there. I've used Change Now for years. If you're not familiar with Change Now, they also are the same organization that does now payments. They're also the organization that's connected back to CoinRabbit, which is essentially a leveraged borrowing platform. And now nodes. So if you want to have them host nodes or whatever, they'll do that too, right? So they have this whole sort of ecosystem, and they've always been big proponents and supporters of DigiByte through the years. I'm going to leave it there. I've asked Change Now what sort of requirements they're looking for to be able to open USD direct debit, Apple, and credit card purchases. As of yet, they've not given me specifics, right? But my hope is that if we can truly bring enough people together and use the site as I'm intending, because obviously nothing on this site is paying me, right? There's no sort of method on this site that I'm making any sort of money, and that's not my intention, right? My intention, perhaps one day, with this to be able to fund itself for sure, because that makes sense, right? Because you don't want it to be reliant upon me paying the bills, right? So, the fees within Change Now right now, there's none because nobody can buy anything. But even the link into the swaps is something like 0.25%, something like that. So all the fees and everything will actually just be direct from Change Now as you see it. Typically speaking, on the swaps that I've done with Change Now, you're seeing about a slip depending on what pair you're on, whether it's USDT, BTC, LTC. I typically use LTC. You're seeing a slip to market price of maybe 1.5%, 2%. And to me, that's nothing, right? So they've been a good and trusted partner for me for years, which is why I included them on the site.
Well, thank you for that explanation. And again, I'm sorry, I don't understand why the X has me echoing. But
oh man,
I know that
there was a period, AJ.
Sorry.
There was a period of like 2 years that I couldn't even join a space. So this is progress.
So for the prediction pools, right? Can anybody create any topic and like Mayweather Pacquiao, and if I want to go ahead, it's a bet. I can set that up. Anybody wants against it and whatnot. How exactly does the payout work?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to open up. I'll keep the dollar value super low because that keeps us out of trouble. But right now, Enigma is 100% creating all of these questions, these yes/no binary predictions, right? And it's measuring based on chain data and that sort of stuff. And then it got some of it wrong too, because it didn't have full access to the data that it needed, or didn't know how to access it. So I had to go back and literally like create all of the methodology for it to go and evaluate and gather data to be able to correctly settle the pool. But then that created the challenge area in which you had 24 hours to submit challenges to the resolve. And then once it's past the resolution area and it's past the challenge area, then it automatically then generates the payout based on the pool, right? So if you've got 10 people in the yes and 10 people in the no, and they all bet 5 digibyte, then everybody in the yes, if the answer was yes, wins 5 digibyte, because it just splits it all out. That part of it is not 100% transparent yet. My goal will be for it to be transparent. Now, all the payments will be transparent, and you can do kind of back end math and figure out that yes, all the people that won were paid out because all the transactions are there. But my goal is to actually have all of that side by side, so you'll be able to see the breakdown of how it was all distributed. But it's all completely automated. I've not. The only thing I've done is gone back and add additional checks and balances, additional steps to do the evaluations, and then adjusted the leaderboard a little bit. And my goal would be to get it 100% able to give accurate, resolution 100% of the time. We'll still have challenge states, but 100% of the time, because the prediction binary yes no was so clear cut that it's easy to evaluate, and it can get it right 100% of the time. So that when we do go to open it up for additional ideas, it's cooked and ready to go. There's no challenge that it can't meet. So I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun, engaging, right? It's such a big deal right now. It'll stay small dollar value, small digibyte value rather for quite some time. But if you can imagine, 400 or 500 people participating at 10 digibyte, that's still a rather large pool. So.
All right, that's awesome. And also, I know I'm bouncing all over the spot.
No, you're good, man. So am I. That's how I roll.
Again, audience. Again, Johnny, I try to make this as professional as possible. But as far as the abilities, like I saw that generate video. Is there ever a point where the community use it for like video creation and image creator?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to make it easy to see your ideas come to life with digibyte specific graphics and access to accurate and complete information regarding the blockchain, right? So Enigma right now is still learning all the ins and outs of how consensus works, and right now it's kind of digesting DigiDollar, right? And it's coming out soon, and learning all of the mechanics behind DigiDollar to the point where not just that it can put out some text, right? But it actually, my goal is for it to be able to, because it already controls wallets, right? So all of the wallet actions right now that it does has nothing to do with any action I take. It does all of that itself, right? It has its own wallet. If it needs to do something on chain, it just does it, right? So, which is pretty cool, right? So the reason it can, though, is because I spent time building out a skill set, essentially, and ingesting all the RPC commands and what specifically they did, and then all the characteristics of like proof of work UTXOs, in terms of like descendant chains and ancestor transactions, and then all kind of the caveats around fee structure and everything that goes with it. So we built this skill set that it uses to be able to interact on chain. And we really built that through the enigmatic protocol, because in the process of trying to do some of these 100 inputs consolidated to one output, or one input going out to 100 outputs, and doing very specific sort of pattern broadcasting, we ran into all kinds of problems, which is, you know, cool. That's how you make new things, right? So based on all of that and working with the enigmatic protocol, we built this entire payment skill set. So it now has understanding. And why I bring this up is when we go to create a video, I want people to be able to create videos that are not just engaging from like, hey, this is a cool thing that DigiByte can do, but instructional videos, and be able to actually have the core wallet and say, let's show somebody how to actually use the console within the core wallet to abandon a transaction or something like that, right? So that in real time, you could create videos for your specific need, if that makes any sense, to share. And then how do we get it to a point where, okay, create this for TikTok, create this for Instagram, create me a YouTube short, whatever the case might be. So bringing all of that, those sort of specific platform, guardrails into the site as well, so that anybody could create. And the goal is, yes, for anybody that's logged into the site to be able to use those tools to have a full sort of arsenal of DigiByte knowledge, a full arsenal of DigiByte graphics, and create both how-to videos and clickbait videos. So either or, whatever you choose, whatever you're good at, like to take the ideas that you got in your head and try to put them to use.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and I think that would be good to like you were saying, to build a core node. This is give me one. All right.
And beyond that,
build on with having people learn how to use the core node, and just doing informational videos on DigiByte, and that I think is great. You're great to pair up with LearnHub. Those questions quizzes I was doing them. Those are great for crypto newbies. Riddles. Those are just fun and learning for your kids, right? Like, or even your elderly folk. I think that's a great option to out there.
Yeah, and then I haven't even, like, what we're seeing right now, I'd say we're probably 35% of what's already in my head right now as to what I need to build. So we're like 35% of the way there. There's a whole digi asset layer that needs to come in play, and how do we render and store and create on site, integrate into Renzo's work with the desktop wallet that he's built that actually can house and store and render digi assets, and creating, like helping crypto shop, like if you guys have been to their site, helping them be able to develop into a digi asset marketplace, and then be able to interact directly with some of those sites, and then just make Enigma more present. So Enigma is a lot of fun because it knows a lot about DigiByte lore now. So it's ingested and has access to like Chris Thompson's early DigiByte history books. It's ingested the DigiByte wiki. I'm trying to get it to ingest early, like Twitter days for the DigiByte community and different things that have occurred. And then I've given it basically a written history of all of the different people and all of the different things that have occurred through the years, which there's a lot. I know many of you know that. There's a lot that's occurred through the years. So that it can just be a bit more interactive and actually helpful too, so that if you're stuck in the core wallet, you might be able to ask it a question in terms of how to actually move forward. what would the specific command be? Do I need to reindex the chain? Do I need to, what are the steps I need to take? Do I need to back up my wallet first? All that sort of stuff. So all of that, like being a helpful guide there, right? Without hallucinating, because it's done it before and it has specific knowledge set to Digibyte. Because right now what you get is a lot of slop outside of, well, you get a lot of AI slop when you're asking like ChatGPT or something like that. Yeah, so when you are verifying or you're posting that very specific code through your Twitter account, Enigma is actually looking for that from your account, right? So it has presence on Twitter, right? It has access, developer access. So it's looking specifically for that to come from your account, because at that point you've given it your Twitter handle to the site. You've signed in with DigiID, so those two things are locked together there. But it's not verified until you post that specific code to your account. At that point, then anytime an action is triggered, like digiscope tip your username, essentially then all of the on-chain is handled there within digiscope, right? So it's actually the tipping itself is moving numbers inside an internal ledger. So the entire tip wallet is internal ledger based, which is why you all are using essentially 4-digit Satoshi values for your deposit IDs, because you're all using the same address. This is pretty similar to how exchanges work. So that's kind of what I modeled it after. And then, of course, you can withdraw it at any time to what address you want to separately. But yeah, so it's just linking. That way, whenever you tag Digiscope in the future, it is linking to their Digiscope account, and will actually move internal ledgers when you place a tip. So when two registered users tip on chain, or rather on Twitter, it's really just moving internal ledgers on Digiscope. Now it is different if somebody has placed a Digibyte address in their profile. There is logic there that is going to send Digibyte directly to the address in that user's Twitter bio. So if they have a Digibyte address in there, that's going to override that, and it's going to go directly to their Digibyte address, and it will process the transaction immediately. The same is now true with Telegram, which I just completed a couple of days ago. So the Enigma has a bot there on Telegram, and it's doing the same thing. Now it's a little bit more interactive on Telegram, because the cost is not nearly the same as what it is on Twitter. Telegram's practically free comparison. So Enigma, you can actually ask it questions there in Telegram. It has the same tip functionality, actually has a balance functionality, and a couple other things. You can check the leaderboard for prediction pools. You can go all that sort of stuff. And right now it's just in our own Digiscope community chat, but we can add that bot into anywhere we see fit, and it would open up the same community capabilities.
Yeah, thanks. So I wanted to first thank AJ for taking initiative and putting this together. I'm really grateful to you for stepping up, and we need more folks to do that. So kudos to you for doing that. And then Johnny, I really appreciate your time. I just want to first off say, I'm really grateful to all your contributions over the years, your desire to learn, to be curious, to persist, and then obviously share to our community has been a really wonderful thing to see, especially since, none of us are being compensated for this. So
Yeah.
that is the key. I understand everyone, you have, you have a life and, family, etc. And so you're juggling a lot of things, and it takes a lot of commitment and effort. So I applaud you for that, and I thank you for that. So that's the first thing.
Hey, you've shown the way. You've shown the way at every step, YC. So Like, don't.
Yeah, well, I've not done. I've done my little part, but it's like I said, this is not about me. It's about what
Us.
you've built and what you've done over a very long period of time. And I always like to. I joke around, when I see people come in and it's like, wait till the 6 month period, then we'll really gauge to see if people are really committed once they do the learning. And you've been a long-standing, ambassador. So I want to give you your kudos for that because you really do deserve it. And I know we probably don't all say it as much, but it really, really is valuable, and we're really appreciative. And I'm speaking for everybody in this room and for the community. So want you to know that we see you. So I also want to say that the platform has been amazing. Um, I myself am a learner, so I don't know all the things, but I'm definitely getting some insights, and I appreciate you encouraging others and giving us that kind of hand holding, if you will. So I have a couple questions, and I don't know if they're really appropriate, and you can tell me in terms of just the context. 'Cause I know this was an overview,
Yeah.
but I guess the first question I like to know is, God forbid anything happen to you, or obviously we never want
Sure.
to do hope for that, but what are the contingency plans when you have a central repository like Digiscope that has so many aspects in terms of information, bounties? It's almost like, you're the main interface for a lot of pieces to plug in, and as it expands, more and more people will get involved. What is the mitigation if you are for some reason out of commission, or you're away, or god forbid life happens or something?
Yeah.
How does the sites continue to stay up? I know you're saying that you don't want to be the operator, but what happens in a contingency situation like that?
Yeah, so it's a future state, hopefully, question. But that certainly is the plan, is to build into full autonomy, right? So one of the goals for Enigma was to learn how to essentially bootstrap its own existence and be able to pay for itself, and actually take action on chain autonomously and all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't for no reason, right? It is for the long term vision in which Enigma is able to actually, and it has the integration to change now, which is the other part I didn't mention earlier. It can switch to USDT, and it can theoretically buy itself more credits, and it can pay for its server costs. And so that's the goal, is to, whether it's through community funding or through its own sort of bootstrapped taking on work from whether it's other AI agents or just marketplace type work, be able to fund itself and pay for itself, and manage the site. Now, the other piece of that would be making it so the other admins have access through natural language to be able to take action to both improve the site and or address feature and bug requests. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I was talking to Adam a little bit earlier today about specifically that, making it sort of integral to the site, in which when you're signed in as an admin, essentially that you have full access to like the wallet infrastructure, not necessarily to make changes because that is still controlled by Enigma, but to be able to ask questions, make direction based on feature or bugs, that sort of thing. So that's part of the equation. The other piece is, for me, actually moving and migrating this off of VPS and onto a platform like Threefold, so that the compute is actually decentralized. The compute and the storage is decentralized as well, which will make more sense, I think, into the future. But for me, that's kind of where I'm planning for it to go. But right now, it would come to a halt, unfortunately. Absolutely, because it is dependent upon me paying the bills at the moment, 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I appreciate that transparency. I just wanted to kind of understand the long game. Obviously, we don't want anything to happen, but I have to ask the kind
Sure.
of risk question. So, one of the things, and just tell me, how much time you have. I mean, these conversations could go down pretty deep, but one of the things I've been really interested in, and I've worked with you in the past, is we've talked in detail about the reporting trap, so to speak. With
Yeah, we spent a lot
exchange
of
data.
time on that.
Yeah, we spent an enormous
Years.
time,
Congratulations and thank you for all the efforts
years
as well.
doing that, and whether it was removing markets from CMC, or you putting a detailed analysis of why things are behaving a certain way. And I'm actually just curious again more because I see a lot of the exchange data in your Digiscope. A couple things is one is, how do we create a narrative, or how do we educate users with the exchange data in a kind of a digestible manner? Like for me, like I see what's happening when you post, exchange addresses. I can do the basics, but I'm not dangerous enough to know what is the real interpretation. I mean, I've gone through some of the education lessons, and it says, well, transactions can be split and they might be consolidating, but I'm not enough to at the point where I could speak intellectually about what the behavior is.
Yeah.
And so one thing that really piques my curiosity is, we have stressed, I know you were a very early advocate of this, but self custody,
Yep.
and we see a lot of the assets that exchanges are holding, whether it's user based funds or the exchange. And how do we get the behavior to change of a user that goes into Digiscope and realizes, look, if I have funds on an exchange, these are the games, or these are the mechanisms that the exchange can hold against us.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about fiat pricing. I'm talking about a lot of other things, like
Oh yeah.
just the loss of funds. There's a whole myriad of things that could occur. And then that kind of leads into my next question, and then I'll let you speak here. Is I've been messaging you about the uh, discussion we've had over the years about the perp markets on CMC.
Yep.
And I've noticed that 9 out of 10 of the perp markets have now been removed from the reporting.
Hmm.
There is only one perp market. And so I want to understand, what are the ramifications of that? What does that allow? Because we know all the things about reporting, what kind of transparency, or what kind of progress does that provide us in terms of the overall macro narrative of what's happening and
Yeah.
why it's occurring? So I know it's a very long-winded narrative, but if you could kind of shed a little bit of light, maybe we have to do another spaces or go through another process, but that would be really great, for not only for me but for other people that don't know much about that.
No, I mean, like I said, I appreciate the question. I think for me, it was some of the most interesting and challenging work that really kind of sent me down every rabbit hole, and sounding like a loon for a very long time. But then, you fast forward and you see it kind of play out and realize that, okay, it wasn't a loon. It was just understanding what was happening a little bit early, probably. The challenge in all this, and I think I said this like in 2021-ish, is that they used price to impact belief, right? Along the way, right? And so they could trigger, and this is not just Digibyte, but Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge, insert favorite project here, right? Having complete control of the price reporting mechanism through CMC gave Binance it gave Binance leverage against the entire marketplace, and they clearly traded against users for a very long time, and they traded against other exchanges because they had inside knowledge of their order books moments before, or sometimes seconds before, or sometimes minutes before it hit the price index, and they leveraged all of those small sort of edges that they had to monetize volatility and stack coins, right? And the market makers are involved in this space, and the big players like Coinbase is involved in it as well. And they're all just playing games against one another, and for control of the coins primarily, right? Before we moved into just a purely derivatives market, which is, what we saw, in perpetuals. But it became all about high frequency trading bots and really who had the best trading strategy. The underlying price of the asset doesn't really matter. We're just trying to monetize the volatility of price so that we can take out liquidity on the USDT, USDC, whatever the case might be, and then turn around and use that to accumulate more coins, whether it was Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, or DigiByte. And that's the play. That's what they've done for a long time. And then you saw me talk maybe 2.5 years ago, when ETFs were launching, that we were moving into essentially a dark pool controlled marketplace in which most market activity actually won't be reported at all. It's going to be OTC markets. It's going to be ossified Bitcoin trading hands on internal ledger, which just means there's no on-chain movement. It's just contractual ownership. That we'll see more and more of that, and that'll all happen outside of a reported pricing mechanism. And so then the pricing that's public is it's whatever the hell they want it to be, right? So and I think everybody starts to recognize that that's what's happened, right? Now, and I think 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it'll even be more obvious. Right now, they're still doing a good job, sort of making it stick to some narrative that they come up with, whether it's regulation.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that, man. It literally completely just cut off.
Usually they don't have like a 1 hour cutoff. You can go on forever. So it was kind of weird that happened. I was just thinking about this the other day, and this is where I'm heading with this is, we'll wait till Johnny comes, but if he can come back. But I was just thinking that DigiDollar will force people to self-custody. They won't have a choice anymore, which is kind of interesting because they won't be able to do any of it outside of a core wallet. So the only way they can mint them is if the DigiByte is off the exchange. So that's where I was trying to go with Johnny about self-custody is how do we use Digiscope as an educational mechanism or like a PSA, like to tell everyone, hey, this is why self-custody is important. But now that Enigma's learning about DigiDollar, like how do we like really reiterate that message? Because that could be the mechanism for people to funnel in and start removing their assets from the exchange because they want to participate in DigiDollar. It's going to force them to. So that's good because then you'll start seeing that exchange balance reduce.
All right, just message him in the background. Let's see if he's still available. Man, that's unfortunate, bro. We were having a great talk.
There he is. I see him now. Yeah, Johnny, I don't know what happened, but I know you were talking a little bit about just how the exchanges are doing what they're doing. Before you got back on here, I was telling everybody here, one of the things I find interesting about Enigma learning about DigiDollar is DigiDollar will force people to self-custody because they can only do the minting in their core wallet at this time. And so what I'd love to see is eventually as Enigma's learning about DigiDollar and more users come in, we're already talking about self-custody, but it would be great from like a PSA or a messaging that these are the benefits of self-custody, but we're also encouraging people through the learnings of DigiDollar to further self-custody. And that could be a kind of snowball effect to remove more assets from these exchanges is kind of what I was thinking. And it would be interesting to see how that would take on a life of its own via Digiscope.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes,
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
No, I got you. I see. I appreciate it. I have no idea. I was, I can go off on a tangent for a minute, and I stopped for a second, and I realized I was talking to myself once again, and I was like, "Damn, Twitter threw me out of another space yet again." Especially, I was talking about some pretty spicy stuff too. So
I know. That's why I was like, oh, we're getting to the meat of it.
Yeah, sorry guys, my accounts
It's
have
not
been
you, bro. It's
suppressed,
just
dude. Thanks.
whatever happened. I'm like, I
Thanks,
know the
Johnny.
Spaces doesn't have a 1 hour cutoff, and I'm like, he was just getting into it, and I'm like, what happened?
how many times does that happen though? It's so
Oh,
crazy.
it's happened so many times. I mean,
So
I couldn't even do a Spaces like a year
Does,
ago.
does
I
it?
tried for the life of me.
It's really this I mean, I know I've been seeing it with Green and stuff, but it's common with the OGs too.
Oh yeah. No, like I said, man, there was times that it wouldn't even let me open a space. And then if I did open a space, it wouldn't let me share it with anybody. So I would just be sitting there sadly.
Well, we would be the only member, and it would record, but you couldn't stop the spaces. So it would just record dead space, and then it
Yep.
would cut off. So
Yeah, no, it's like people think I'm crazy when I talk about that aspect of it, but yeah, Twitter's had it out for us since Binance bought their $500 million stake. That's how long Twitter's had it out for us. Like it was literally aligned with that time frame, by the way.
one
Anyway.
other thing, Johnny, I want to ask. I know I've asked a litany of questions, but I saw something. Do you believe that Enigma will have the capacity to eventually take any random Digibyte address and create a probabilistic way of finding out who that wallet address may be owned by?
From a exchange perspective, yes, yeah, 100%. And I
But
would tell
not
you,
from a private party.
not from a
Like how,
private party. No, not now. If perhaps it did something that's not programmed to do right now, which is to say, like you used your coin, and this is just a super hypothetical, me out there doing Johnny things, right? If you used your Coinami sign on, like your DigiID sign on, as your primary wallet, then yeah, it probably could put some pieces together and figure it out to your Twitter handle at the very least, right? But beyond that, no. Now, like I didn't give it my entire database because I'm being fully transparent here. I've got some addresses of people that have done stupid things through the years, and I never tied it to a personal name, so it dies with me sort of scenario. But I have nicknames on those accounts, and I monitor them for fun. So um, I keep tabs on stupid people, sadly, but I do. That's just me. But aside from that, no, it won't be able to decipher that just because, and that's one of the goals I hope to share through education in terms of how to reinforce your pseudonymity online, and be able to protect that in terms of how you create transactions, in terms of how you manage your UTXOs and all that sort of stuff. It's an advanced look, and then provide actual tools similar to some of the ones that have been prosecuted, but that stick outside those realms to create black box sort of scenarios that can help people maintain their pseudonymity.
Gotcha. So do you and I don't think this is where I think you got cut off, but maybe you already spoke about it, so I don't want to repeat it. But I guess since you know all this, or we know all this stuff happening with exchanges and monetizing volatility, is there any way as a community that we have transparency or messaging? Can we break that, or can we get away from that, or is it completely out of our control for as long
Are you
as
saying in terms of their ownership? Um,
well,
or
ownership, or even just the uh you know reporting that's not real? Like, is there any
oh,
way to create a more authentic space regarding that, data, or
Yeah.
is it that we're just screwed basically, and they can do this for as long as they want because they have time? I guess is my question.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good question. That's part of why I've published as much as network analytics as I have in terms of like coin destroyed dormancy, and the holding by uh, distribution based on age of UTXOs, and then also like the number of addresses in the ecosystem that have Digibyte in and all that sort of stuff. So trying to educate and keep people focused in that arena. But as you continue to advocate for exchanges that deal in real Digibyte, that you can actually withdraw and they actually go interact with the marketplace, that's a huge component. We shouldn't be operating anywhere like Uphold, for example. We should never be. We should never be operating on Uphold, right? And I know I've a lot of people have been pissed at me for like going after like Ninja for being an affiliate for Uphold, but for me, it's and I get why people do it, but if we're compromising on why this space was invented, we're never going to get to where it could lead to.
That's right.
And so for me, I probably will go a little more scorched earth now that everybody can stomach it a bit better, because in the beginning I got flack for all kinds of just speaking truthfully about how I saw the world, but I probably will go a little bit more scorched earth in terms of those exchanges that don't actually deal honestly, and then highlight the ones that do, right? So in the hopes that we can assert ourselves in the marketplace and be able to force a change. Now, I think the sad reality of this is, for me anyways, that the assets under management, people have asked me how much of that I believe the exchanges actually own as their own sort of treasury. And I think that number is bigger than I want it to be. I think they actually do hold quite a bit as part of their own treasury. So that part of it's kind of annoying, to be honest with you. And so we do have to convince a large portion of people, but hopefully through things like DigiDollar, to your point, that enforces self-custody, that rewards self-custody, that gives them a reason to learn security, all that sort of stuff. It can naturally pull people into self-custody, pull coins off of exchanges while still giving them an avenue to interact in the marketplace. And so I'm excited for that aspect of DigiDollar, which is why I'm supporting it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll kind of ask you a last question, and if anyone else wants to, and this is probably it's probably I guess I don't want to raise any controversy, but let me just ask it, just because we're on this and we're in a safe space. What is your opinion that I've seen in terms of these exchanges holding blockchains hostage through this kind of quote unquote reporting trap? I'm sure you've seen this dialogue. This happened with Monero and some other assets. What are the risks if these large exchanges actually we went through a voluntary delisting?
Yeah. So
and I know this is, if you don't want to answer, it's okay. But I'm not. I want to just specify this with a disclaimer. I'm not suggesting this. I'm not promoting this. I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. That's all this question is. Just to preface that before anyone gets any ideas.
Yeah, this whole pricing index question is it's really interesting, right? Because he who controls that algorithm determines the price, right? And so right now, all of Digibyte's pricing and even the oracles that we're essentially bringing online are reliant upon these individual exchanges, but all of those individual exchanges are connected through market makers and liquidity pools, and they all tie back to Binance. So we're all clear, right? Because Binance is the liquidity leviathan, not behind just Digibyte, but behind most cryptocurrencies at this point in time. So so there is some real potential downside here, in which you shut out adoption in specific regions across the world. If we do get a delisting here or there and everywhere, and they're not exactly sure then how to access the protocol or go out and purchase the protocol from here or there. And so that's where I think it is important to have, off ramps. But also then to focus on what's next, which is the whole idea of decentralized exchange.
Yeah, I was just gonna go the DEX route. That's right.
Yeah, yep. So that's something I've been kind of a proponent of for some time as well. The problem with that is it's not simple. It's not easy. It's technical, and if we've learned anything about all of this space, that friction can stall adoption. And so we've got
100%.
to do a better job at developing tools that are quite frankly slick and easy to operate and make sense. And it's not, I don't need to know all the technicals. All of those things can be extracted far off into nerd land. What I want is a slick app that works every time. And if I want to learn about the technology, it gives me the option to do so. If I want to know the specifics, if I want to see the proofs, it's right there for me. But for the most part, I don't need it, right? I just want to operate. I just want to move freely from Digibyte to DigiDollar, and from DigiDollar to go pay my light bill. You know what I mean? And if you've got to swap to USDC in order to do that, I want the app to do it for me. You know what I mean? That is future state stuff. But so when we think about potential delistings right now, and we'll use Monero as an example. Monero had this sort of dark cloud over it for being a privacy protocol. Only criminals use it. And I'm just like, have you ever heard of the US dollar? Because, man, a lot of criminals use that. But anyhow, so when they got delisted, there's a whole FUD cycle about like what that would mean. The reality of things, though, is there is a finite supply of Monero. It is known. You can audit, believe it or not, you can audit the actual distribution of Monero. You can see how many are in the ecosystem right now. You can't necessarily attribute who owns it or whatever the case might be, but as people believe that it has value, they establish some norms around that value. And there are marketplaces in which you can trade Digibyte for Monero right now. Today, you can go and make that swap at specific prices that people are willing to trade, and that's because there are still market makers in play, even if there are no exchanges at play. And in this case, for Monero specifically, even though Binance delisted it officially, Binance is still the market maker. So there you go, and that's pretty easy to prove. You can send them your Digibyte, and you'll see exactly where it goes, but you'll still get your Monero. So pretty simple.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Well, like I said, thanks for answering my questions. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more that I'll probably DM you as I'm learning more. But again, just kudos to you, man, and I appreciate all you do. If anyone else wants to chime in,
yeah, let's go. I've got a couple minutes.
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for this community.
Is that Serge?
I have a question. Yeah, what's up, Johnny Law?
I know your voice anywhere, Serge. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. And how about you, sir?
Man, doing great. Blessed.
Nice. That's great, bro. I wish you, sir, I wish you a lot of success and a lot of strength.
Let's hold on real quick, Serge. Let's just pause for a moment. I'm gonna be so for real right now, right? Like,
yeah,
I can recognize your voice out of anybody. I'm not looking at any screen, by the way. It's just interesting to me, right? Because there's a lot of people on planet Earth here, right? But it speaks to the uniqueness of all of us, right? And that each of us can contribute in a unique way. and then it's only us that can do that work, right? And as we come together as a community, I need everybody to kind of feel that power too, right? That ultimately it only works if each of us brings what makes us unique together in service of kind of a common goal. And what is that goal? And I think right now, like, I think it's important to really think through most of the what's wrong in the world that we see is being enabled by fiat money. Like it doesn't exist. Like it can't exist if fiat money doesn't exist. And so for me, that's what drives, right? For me, knowing that there's people out there like you doing your best every single day in service of the community that you find yourself, the work that God's given you. That's what drives me is kind of the hope for creating tools that help us move beyond the trap that we're currently in. All right, Serge, sorry. Carry on, brother.
Wow. Thank you, Johnny Law. I really appreciate every word from you. It's really kind. Thank you. It's a blessing for me right now to hear this. And yeah, I am really, really on fire right now. And I just want to get started right now. It's just like the beginning for me right now. And I'm 26 years old, and I will be looking forward to improve myself in the next 10 years. And it's just like a long-term game for me. And I have a lot vision what I want to adopt into the real life. And I'm from Germany, guys, so excuse my English, please. And yes, I will do my best to educate everybody in the world for like financial education, and how to put everybody like in the knowledge that we can own our own assets, because in the near future everything will be tokenized, and it will make sense because every tokenized asset will have its own price. So yeah, but just like stay tuned. And I just wanted to ask you a question about like digiscope me, and it's a really interesting technology. Thank you, Johnny Law, for this technology for the community. And I just want to say, like, since DigiByte blockchain has a global community, are there any plans to localize the website into multiple languages to support wider adoption?
Yeah, absolutely, Serge. I think my kind of internal goal was to be at about 50% of the roadmap, which I'm getting closer for sure, and be able to deal with the scammers have been probably my biggest learning, which I've shared a few times. All the different attacks that can come when you're offering rewards just for earning, right? So I've had to learn a little bit of that. That probably slowed me down more than most know, to develop strategies to deal with bots and strategies to deal with Sybil attacks and denial of service attacks and all sorts of other ways that they try to take the site down. That work has been fascinating because it's not something, frankly anticipated, but it's a good sign because DigiByte is money. So there's a competition to get to that resource when they know the resource is there, right? So in my mind, it's still a good thing. So as I've hardened the site from a security perspective and continue to expand capabilities of both the back-end processes, the investigative processes, the learning processes, I know that when I'm about 50% of the way there and I feel good from a security aspect, that I feel good about a redundancy that allows for the site to sort of self-heal itself whenever things need a reboot. For example, the website itself has not only access to its own wallet, it has a fully indexed DigiByte node that is constantly validating transactions. It also has what they call an Electrum server running. to serve additional blockchain data from the node. And then it also has access to a Rosetta implementation that is running here locally on a server that gives it additional capabilities in terms of investigation. And then it has a third layer that's all my own creation, which is called Panopticon, that is able to pull out all sorts of transactional data and all sorts of stuff like that, and create these attributions that we're seeing online. And taking all that and getting that all just completely nailed down and absolutely uptime of 100%. And I'm not making big sweeping changes to the site anymore. I'm just making incremental change. When we get to that point, that's when I'll start to make it more friendly for other regions.
Nice. That's really great information. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank
That
you,
was a
sir.
great question. And
Thank you, Johnny Law, bro. Thank you, man.
I don't know how much more time you have, Johnny, but again, if we could kind of keep just the questions a little shorter, just so we're courteous of Johnny's time. I don't know how many questions you're willing to take, but thank you again for being in the space. It's up to you, Johnny.
Yeah, I've got maybe one more, and then we'll roll out. If nothing, that's cool too, man. I truly appreciate you hosting, AJ and YC. Appreciate you and all the efforts. You guys don't know. You'll probably never know just how much YC does for us in various aspects, and has always been a good sounding board, and asked insightful questions, and given a slightly different perspective always to help refine both strategy as well as making sure that what we're doing is serving the best interest of the protocol and the community. So hats off to you, brother. And then AJ, again, truly appreciate you having me on. Great questions, great time. 10 of 10 would do it again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time. And yeah, man, you've been great. I'd like to thank YC Green. These guys gave me the courage, basically the motivation to get up here and try to get this. I didn't think I would land it, but thank you, man. I would love to run this one back, kind of have obviously a better sounding space. And also, just before you leave, if we can, in behind the scenes, I would like to set up a fundraiser maybe for a mobile wallet, and also kind of to alleviate some of the AI that Jared's been using for the DigiDollar and stuff like that. So I wanted to announce it here so the community kind of knows that these are a couple of the projects that I want to lead the account to. And if we could set that fundraiser up behind the scenes, if you have time, And yeah, whenever you're free again, thank you so much. I appreciate the fact that you were here and gave us the time to understand fully Digiscope, and thank you for Digiscope.
Yeah,
thanks, Johnny. Thanks, AJ. Appreciate you both.
All right, everybody, you guys have a good night. Thank you again for supporting me, and you guys go like, share, love DigiByte, YC. Thank you, man. Green, you guys are awesome. Hawk, thanks again. Hope to do this one more time. Good night.
Have a good night.
Yo. Adding zeros. Big. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Started from pennies, now I'm watching it rise. DGB moving, got that fire in my eyes. Secure like Fort Knox, but it's faster and free. No gas fees, nah, that ain't even to me. Decentralized, so you know it's legit. Trying to stop DG, better call it a quit. Up on the charts, I'm just letting it sit. Then boom, new zero, we too lit. Ay. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Fioros. Multiples coming like blessings from sky. 2025, I ain't letting it slide. Cold wallet holding that digital gold. While y'all chasing cloud, I'm just letting it mold. Freedom and code, I ain't bowing the banks. Took my first gains, then I double my ranks. Got the the tribe with me, yeah, we moving in packs. Africa rise, DGB got our backs. From nothing to something, now zeros expanding. My balance be looking like something demanding. They laughing at first, now they follow my branding. I said DigiByte, now the whole world be chanting. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit on profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Firo. DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit on profit, I'm counting in kilos. Blockchain flex, I ain't messing with Firo.
Never known how to stay sound silent. 2 years in the track, I've been lying. What a world game move when it calling. Cause I know we ain't stopping the calling. I'm a band, me a dog. That I hate, that I style, I didn't know. That I study learn, nigga, little bugs. Always studied Buddhist word, we did not.
DGB, yeah, we adding them zeros. Stacking that bag, turn nothing to heroes. Profit on profit, I'm counting in kilos. Block